Hey guys, welcome to Lights Out Podcast episode 1. I'm Rishi, joined by my brother Krish.
Hello.
And we just finished watching the Bahrain Grand Prix, which was nothing short of crazy, I must say. Every single moment kept us at the edge of our seats, from lights out to the checkered flag. Everything was engaging during the race. From the battle for the lead between Lewis and Max to Yuki Tsunoda's amazing debut for AlphaTauri. Um, Red Bull this year, they seem to have really stepped up their game. They topped the timesheets in preseason testing and then practice session, and then they took pole position over here. But ultimately, they finished second in the race. Lewis Hamilton, the 7-time world champion, who is going for his historic 8th title this year, really showed his experience during the race. He obviously came out on top in the battle. He used his great time management,
And his ERS management.
great ERS management, and also his race IQ was brilliant during the race. Max, on the other hand, he showed a lot of maturity during the race and took the defeat gracefully and didn't really complain much. After the strategy didn't play out for Red Bull, and Verstappen could not take the lead of the race and ultimately could not win the race. We had 3 new rookies this year who were replacing 3 drivers who we have seen for a really long time. Yuki Tsunoda, who replaced Daniel Kvyat.
And Mick Schumacher, who replaced Kevin Magnussen, and Nikita Mazepin, who replaced Roman Grosjean.
Yeah, and 3 of them new rookies, but the favorite of them all is certainly Yuki Tsunoda, who had a great debut for AlphaTauri, the lead driver during the race, the driver that scored the point during the race. He had a decent qualifying session. P13, you couldn't really complain much considering the fact it was his first race. And he also qualified on mediums, so they were playing a gamble with the strategy. He finished the race P9 with beautiful moves on Fernando Alonso and Lance Stroll, which he made on the final lap. And then talking about Fernando Alonso, who had his debut for Alpine, which is rebranded from the Renault. And
He had an okay race, good start, very good start actually, but there was a problem with his braking ducts. They overheated because of a sandwich bag which came from the grandstand. So ended up for a DNF, but or else it was a good race, good start for Fernando Alonso.
yeah, he himself said that he had a great battle with his previous colleagues who he had raced with before, Sebastian Vettel and Kimi Raikkonen, and also Carlos Sainz, who basically idolizes Fernando Alonso. Sebastian Vettel, when we come to him, he had a really poor weekend. He qualified 18th on the grid.
But he had a penalty, so he had to start last because he had ignored the yellow flags. So the marshals had to give him a penalty.
Yeah, and he had a really good start, and but he managed to make contact with Ocon while Ocon came out of the pits, and he missed the braking zone and hit Ocon from behind, which basically ended his race over there. And everyone is really expecting a lot from Aston Martin considering their really strong season last year.
And many people actually thought that Aston Martin will finish third in the constructors, but actually we don't know yet. It's the first race, so some developments might get them top to the table, or they'll be stuck with 1 point. We don't know actually.
Yeah, from my perspective, I feel like uh, Aston Martin aren't really close to the top three in the Constructor Championship. I don't think they're going to score a podium this year. Also, considering the second driver of Aston Martin, that is Lance Stroll, he had a decent weekend. He got into Q3, unlike his teammate who got out of Q1, and he scored the last remaining points for Aston Martin as he finished P10. And
It was a okay qualifying for Lance Stroll. Qualified P10, finished P10. Yeah, it was an average race. It's good for him. And Aston Martin have 1 point till now. So we are waiting for Imola.
and when we come to Alfa Romeo, they have the beautiful Alfa Romeo. That car is the most beautiful car on the grid. They have just inverted the colors, but it certainly is the best looking car on the grid according to me.
I also agree with that because the color schemes are just very good. Even though it's just that same red and white, how they've exchanged the places of the colors are very smart and very good.
Yeah, and if we come to Alfa Romeo's performance, none of the drivers scored points, but they seem to have improved from last year. Antonio Giovinazzi, who is in his third season with Alfa Romeo, qualified P12, just ahead of Yuki Tsunoda and just under Sergio Perez on his Red Bull debut. And coming to Checo, he had a bit of a rough start to his debut with Red Bull after they dropped Alex Albon after he had a really tough season last year.
Even though he scored 2 podiums with Red Bull didn't have the potential to carry on with him.
Yeah, and now Sergio Perez, he qualified 11th on the grid. They played a bit of a gamble with the strategy. He qualified on the medium compounds, which didn't really work out for them, and it was pretty disappointing qualifying for him. Then more drama began on the formation lap where he had to pull over to the side, and everyone thought that his race was over there. He had an electrical issue, but he managed to start the car.
And he at least got it to the pits, which is good news. So they changed his steering wheel and he had to do start from the pit. That is much worse than even starting from 20th.
Yeah, but the safety car played out well for him, which is caused by Nikita Mazepin, who was also on his debut for Haas and his debut in Formula One. He had a really average debut, I must say. He qualified last and he spun out in turn 2, yeah, and crashed out. And so we can't really say much about what he could have done in the race. His teammate Mick Schumacher, on the other hand, managed to out-qualify his teammate, started P19 and had a really decent race, though he didn't score points, and nobody will expect Haas to score any points this season, considering the Ferrari power unit, and they've got 2 new rookies too. And they made a statement earlier that they won't be focusing on the 2021 development, but instead they will be focusing on the 2022 development. So Schumacher managed to cross the line, which was good news for Haas, and but didn't score any points and finished P17. Then we had Daniel Ricciardo on his debut for McLaren, who managed to out-qualify his teammate Lando Norris in qualification, but seemed to have struggled a bit during the race, as he said.
Yeah. So Daniel Ricciardo, it was okay. He finished P7, and like it's a good start for McLaren. Daniel Ricciardo finishing P7, as I just said, and Lando Norris finishing 4th.
Yeah, so Lando's strategy really played out well. He started P8 and managed to finish P4, which is a great result for McLaren, and they are currently third in the Constructor Championship. Started off where they left off from last year in Abu Dhabi, and they are just on top of Ferrari, who had a really tough season last year, and both the drivers managed to finish in the points this year. Charles, as we know, he is known for totally juicing out every ounce of that car, as we saw last year, multiple P4 finishes and two podiums. Yeah.
Two podiums.
And this year he's going to continue his form, obviously, as we could see in qualifying. He qualified P4, which is obviously best of the rest, just below the top three, the Mercedes duo and Max Verstappen's Red Bull. And but though strategy didn't play out that well, he managed to finish P6 with Sainz in P8. Sainz had a good debut for Ferrari. He qualified P8 and he finished P8. Yeah. And they're currently fourth in the Constructor Championship right now. So it's good news that both of them managed to finish the points. Ferrari seem to be finding their feet once again after a difficult season last year. And both the drivers are really fast, as we know, and the car also seems to be showing a lot of pace. Then comes Pierre Gasly, who had an excellent qualifying session. He qualified P5. And though his race was really disappointing, he showed his talent, as he's been carrying through from 2020 to now. His talents, he's really carrying out his pace with that AlphaTauri, which looks really fast right now. He managed to qualify P5, but ended up retiring, I think. After he had contact with Daniel into turn 5. He had contact with Daniel and went wide and lost his front wing, and from then his race was over. So really not much to say for his race. He scored no points for AlphaTauri. Then the Williams, they had a decent race. We saw Latifi making a lot of overtaking positions, and we saw Latifi making a lot of overtakes, and we saw Russell, as usual, making it to Q2 and continuing his streak of out-qualifying his teammate. So as both the Haases were at the end of the grid, Williams are currently P9 in the Constructor Championships, and they most probably hope to score points in the further races. And we recently had the loss of the voice of Formula 1, as people say, Murray Walker, and they paid a beautiful tribute to him on their halo. Then we had
now there is, so we have done Mercedes. No, we are not done Mercedes.
Oh yeah, Mercedes. So Mercedes, Lewis and Verstappen were in their own game. They had their own race. Valtteri did have a difficult first race, I must say. He was nowhere close to the pace of.
To win the race as he's been doing all this time. Because like I think for how many years? 4 years straight.
No, 2-3.
2-3.
Yeah.
For 2-3 years he's been winning the first race. Even if you see in 2020 in Austria he won. So Lewis finally broke that streak of not winning in the first race. So yeah.
Yeah, and Valtteri, as I said, he was not even close to the pace of Verstappen and Lewis. He finished 30 seconds behind them. But he really played a team game over there by setting the fastest lap on the final lap. He had a decent gap to Lando to pit once again and to set the fastest lap of the race. Now, I think we've covered all the drivers.
Yeah, let's see. So we have done the Mercedes, we have done the Red Bull, we have done the McLaren, we have done the Ferrari, we have done the Aston Martin,
We have done Alpha Tauri, Alfa Romeo.
we have done Alpine also. No, we have not done Ocon.
Oh yeah, Ocon.
Okay race for him because
Yeah, he was.
qualifying also was okay because
He
the yellow flags actually stopped him to set a good lap, so he got out of Q1
Q1.
only.
and he didn't manage to score points at the end of the race. Now everybody's talking about a possible championship battle for this year, but it was just the first race and we can't really make any speculation. I think now 3 weeks away is Imola, and Imola is really going to give us a picture of what the season is going to look like if Verstappen still manages to challenge Hamilton for the victory this race. I think we are in for a championship battle for 2021. So
We have this question for you, which you have to answer in the comments below. That why do you think Imola is so far off? Like 3 weeks, that's almost a month, and normally they have only 1-2 weeks difference. So answer this in the comments. Why do you think there is a 3-week gap through from Bahrain to Imola?
now, if we have a championship battle and you want to hear our podcasts again further in the future, so please do subscribe and do comment below and tell us how did you like our podcast, where should we improve, as this is our first episode, and we'll see you after Imola.
Yeah.
So thank you for tuning in and have a good day, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye.